Our next storyteller is my co-producer, co-creator, partner in crime here at Awkward Teenage Years. If you saw our original show, you might know him as Barf. Otherwise, you know him as Grant Bowen. He's an actor, writer, and storyteller. He's been seen telling stories at the Moth, at the Magnet Theater. He's done a solo show at the Pit. And he wants to remind you that early voting in New York begins this Saturday, and to get your absentee ballots in as soon as possible. So please give a warm digital welcome to my buddy Grant Bowen.
Hey, Will. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. So I discovered theater when I was a kid. And when I started, it was like more of a hobby. But it grew into a bit more of an addiction. I started doing more plays like at school, at church, at community theater. I would find new plays to read. I would look up musicals and like learn all the like songs and trivia facts and everything. And as I got older and older, it gradually escalated until by high school, I was cranking Rent in my car and singing Les Mis at the top of my lungs. I had turned into that theater kid, just singing and dancing and wondering why the girls won't call. But my sophomore year, as I've talked about twice on this show already, the spring musical was Grease. And I was lucky enough to get cast in the lead role of Danny Zuko. And don't get me wrong, this was as cheap as a high school musical gets. Like all our clothes were from Goodwill, our music was set to karaoke tracks, but I was still really excited because this was the first time ever I'd gotten the lead role in anything. Like everybody knows Grease, everyone knows Danny, like that character's front and center. And to top it off, I had just quit the wrestling team a few months before so that I could dedicate more time to doing the school plays. So I felt like I really had to step up and prove myself. So I dove in, and I dove in hard. I learned all the songs. I memorized my lines. I memorized other people's lines. I made sure I ate, slept, and breathed Grease. Now, me and the rest of the cast, we were a really tight-knit group. It's because we were an interesting mix of kids. Some of us were the theater kids, you know, the drama geeks. We were really passionate about this stuff. And then the others weren't theater kids, but they were like, well, I like singing. I like Grease. This could be fun. And so we really kind of got to bridge worlds in that way and get to know each other more. One of the non-theater kids who joined was a guy named Chip. Chip was a great guy, you know, tall, handsome, super friendly. He was on the soccer team, but he was also in choir with me. And even though he wasn't much of an actor, he could really sing. And that's how he ended up in the role of the teen angel. Now, for anyone who doesn't like remember or doesn't really know Grease, the teen angel's like a small but showy role. You know, Frankie Avalon played him in the movie. The character Frenchie goes to beauty school. She flunks out. She feels lost. She says, I wish I had one of those guardian angels who shows up and tells you what to do. And then, out of nowhere, this gorgeous crooning teen angel with a bevy of backup singers shows up, sings a song called Beauty School Dropout, and tells her to go back to high school and get her degree. And then that's it. The one song, and then you never see that character again. So Chip was like, oh, this is easy. It's just, I only have to worry about the one song, and then I just get to hang out in the back the rest of the time. Like, this is going to be fun. And it was fun for a while. And then we ran into the problem that we always ran into with the school plays, which was our director, Mrs. M, the drama teacher. Mrs. M didn't have a great reputation at our school. She was known for being condescending and kind of a smartass and really kind of impatient and snippy with people. And whenever we were working on a show, these qualities got worse and worse the closer we got to opening night because she became more stressed. I didn't like it, but I put up with it because I really wanted to be in the plays. Chip was not having it. Like there was some very real like tension between them. Like these two were about to butt heads. And as Chip's luck would have it, there ended up being a conflict with the soccer season and the run of the show. So Chip saw his window. He was like, screw this. I'm out. Sing the damn song yourself. And he left. This was 2.5 weeks into a 4-week rehearsal process. And suddenly here we were with no Teen Angel. And you can't just do Grease without doing Beauty School Dropout. Like, people are expecting it. You can't just skip it. Like, our own parents would probably walk out if we weren't going to do that song. And so the rest of the cast was like, well, what are we going to do about this? So the next rehearsal, Mrs. M finds me and pulls me aside and says, look, Chip is no longer with the show. We don't have time to find anyone else. And I know you're the only other person in the cast who knows the song. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? And she's like, I've watched you sing it to yourself off to the side during rehearsals. Grant, you know all the songs. Look, I know I'm already putting you through enough as it is playing Danny, but it would really help us out if you could also play the Teen Angel. Now, I hear this and part of my brain thinks this sounds insane for several reasons. First of all, she was right. Like, I was busy trying to learn my lines and all of my blocking as Danny. Like, I was under a lot of stress as it was. And on top of that, Danny is in the scene right before Beauty School Dropout. Like, he's on stage for a bit of dialogue, he leaves, and then it's like 1.5 minutes before the Teen Angel comes on. That's like a minuscule amount of time for me to leave, change costumes, then come back on as a totally different character. Here I am trying to prove myself, and if anything went wrong with this, I would look like a fool. Also, why is Frenchie having a sexy angel fantasy about her platonic friend Danny when everyone knows she's supposed to end up with Duty by the end of the show? It doesn't make any sense. All of this is swirling around in my head. And suddenly there's this other part of my mind. And it kind of cuts through the rest of those thoughts and jumps to the front. And before I can think about it too much, I say, yes, I'll do it. And so it's settled. We go back to rehearsals, we work me into the number, and we try to figure out how we're going to pull off this crazy transition. So, cut to opening night. We get to Act 2. Get to the Beauty School Dropout scene. I'm on stage as Danny. All right, see you later, guys. Those aren't the lines, but you get it. Anyway, I walk off stage, kind of slowly strolling, and then I'm ripping my tennis shoes off. I'm pulling on these white pants over the pants I'm already wearing. I throw on this white jacket and I'm snapping the buttons, and I look and the buttons aren't aligned, so I have to unsnap them and then snap them back up. And I'm trying not to make too much noise so that the audience doesn't hear me. And I'm cramming my feet into these white shoes. I hear Frenchie say, I wish I had one of those guardian angels. And the music starts. I'm set. I rush out onto stage. And as soon as I hit those stage lights, I undergo this total transformation. Like, all my stress is just thrown off. And I go full Frankie Avalon. Like, I'm walking with a swagger and all the backup singers come on. And I'm like flirting with Frenchie. I'm flirting with the backup singers. I'm flirting with the audience. I'm singing the song and I'm nailing all the notes. And I own that stage. And the song ends. I walk off stage and there's this burst of applause. Like, everyone's loving it. They're eating it up. No one's questioning why the same kid just came on again. And as I'm backstage hearing this, I feel this wave of adrenaline come over me, but also this burst of pride. Like, pride in what I'd just done. In fact, I was more proud of what I'd done in that one scene than of anything else I did in the entire show. And as we got to the end of the night and the cast took our final bow for the crowd, I had this thought, maybe this is more than just a hobby. Thank you.